What's in today's podcast? Toilet humor. What's in a Podcast, episode 004. Now, I need you all to stick with me here, and I will do my best not to offend your delicate sensibilities. But in today's episode, we are going to discuss toilet humor. What could have sparked an episode on this topic, you might ask? Well, on the infinite well that is the internet, I came across a BuzzFeed article with the headline, "People are saying Peeps flavored Oreos turn their poop and saliva pink." Now, I do believe that BuzzFeed purports to be a news site, which prompted me to exclaim out loud, "Really? Really, BuzzFeed?" But then the gears started to turn, opening the floodgate, and a deluge of poop and fart jokes came flooding to my mind. The comedian John Pinette talks about breaking wind and melting a rude water park patron upset with his sluggish ascent to the top of a water slide. In another joke, he laments the poor state of breakfast around the world, describing English breakfast that comes with a side of beans of all things. Jim Gaffigan has a bit where he takes on the persona of your underwear and rattles off multiple puns. Dimitri Martin describes the humor of farting while scuba diving. In this joke, he envisions two scenarios, the first being the emission of bubbles from the wetsuit, while in the second, the flatus becomes trapped, causing the offender discomfort. Trap farts also show up in the movie Rocket Man, when two astronauts are required to tether their suits together in order to share oxygen. One of the astronauts passes gas, causing his suit to swell and leaving his comrade no means of escape. I wonder if NASA's SLS astronauts will have to worry about this one. On a New Year's episode of Friends, Ross makes a resolution to do something new every day. One new thing lends to Ross buying a pair of leather pants. On a date, the leather rubs against the couch, making an awkward sound. In the first episode of Golden Girls, Dorothy and Rose lament needing to wake up in the middle of the night in order to use the restroom, as all old people do. To this, Sophia, Dorothy's mom, explains that she does not suffer from such interruptions to sleep. She is quite proud that she pees every morning at 7. The punchline? She does not wake up until 8. Jerry Seinfeld is interrupted by George as he is throwing his shoelaces away. When asked about his actions, Jerry answers that the laces touched the men's room floor, and that sealed their fate. Elsewhere on Seinfeld, we find George being fired for complaining that he could not use his boss's bathroom, telling Kramer where the best restroom nearby is, and giving Jerry a tour of the special bathroom with a high toilet that makes him feel like a king that he was given when his employer, Play Now, believed him to be handicapped. Another episode has Elaine's pleas for help being refused when, as it turns out, Jerry's new girlfriend hasn't a square to spare. On Rules of Engagement, Timmy stutters, but, when trying to refuse his boss's inappropriate request. His employer interrupts by asking what butts are for, to which Timmy replies, pooping. Season 1, Episode 17 of Everybody Loves Raymond introduces a board game called Scruples. The very first question is posed to Ray's mother, Marie, who is asked if she would endorse a diaper for bladder control on TV. Ray's father immediately bursts into laughter, and Marie is quite offended, refusing to even respond to the question, thinking it to be a personal slight. On Futurama's Crimes of the Hot, in order to solve the problem of global warming, a plan is implemented where all robots are required to vent their exhausts simultaneously. With Bender stranded on his back, the plan is not working. This prompts Leela to explain that a lazy or polite robot has not joined in the venting. On another episode entitled Newtopia, the show's male and female characters are pitted against one another. During this battle of the sexes, there are several mentions of fart jokes which amuse the men and disgust the women. Bob's Burgers episode, The Belching, finds Bob trapped in the walls of his restaurant and home, leading to a great Shining parody.
How are things going, Mr. Bob?
Things could be better, Coochie. Things could be a whole lot better.
Do you need to use the facilities, Mr. Bob? Go number 2?
I'm glad you asked, Coochie. Yes, I do need to go number 2.
Shrek offers these words of wisdom. Better out than in, I always say. Nearly every sketch in every episode of Robot Chicken is replete with toilet humor, to the point that, personally, I don't find it very funny, but I'm sure there is an audience for it. Toilet humor also lends itself well to satire. My favorite instances of this are found in South Park, in the episodes Red Hot Catholic Love and Smug Alert. The latter of these episodes has the entire town's adult population driving Priuses, causing them to believe their farts smell wonderful. The song Caroline by Outkast describes a similarly arrogant woman, so we can see that even music might contain such references. Searching my memory, though, I can only think of 2 more. The first being a playground song about diarrhea, and Hakuna Matata, where Pumbaa laments his odor. My favorite episode of Beavis and Butthead...
No, I poop too much, and then I get tired.
Okay, Beavis, thanks for sharing, but that's not the episode I'm talking about. I'm talking about the episode where we find Beavis experiencing quite a bit of stomach discomfort. Through various interactions, he becomes convinced that he is, in fact, pregnant. Then, in the episode's climax, the contractions come, but instead of delivering a baby, Beavis has a long overdue bowel movement. He was definitely relieved in more ways than one. These examples, though not exhaustive, illustrate the ubiquity of toilet humor. But this begs the question as to why? Why do we find these types of jokes, these types of gags so funny? To find the answer, I went out into the world to ask. Here's what you had to say on the subject.
Because they try to find humor in anything, so it's just something to laugh about.
You know, using the toilet is one of the most basic instincts that we humans have. And so to make light of it, I think just speaks to our human nature.
I don't know. Everybody thinks, like, bathroom stuff's hard to talk about, so making it into something funny is just, like, you know, common sense. I mean, if you want to talk about something, make it humorous, and everybody will get a kick out of that. That's what I do.
Because everyone takes a Only because it makes people uncomfortable, but not like a bad uncomfortable. It's just like talking about it, you're just like, oh, that's kind of gross, I really want to talk about it. But when you make it into a joke or you like use different like simple words to describe it, it makes it a little more easy to talk about and to joke around with.
Because it sounds funny.
Toilet jokes are taboo, so that's why it's funny. Because it's crappy entertainment.
These answers do shed some light on the subject. Comedy can definitely be subversive and dip into the taboo. I believe the underlying foundation of toilet humor's appeal is the fact that, as many of you said, and of course as the book says, everyone poops. And although it is a natural bodily function, there's some discomfort involved, as well as a sense of vulnerability. So, to deal with this, we make jokes and attempt to laugh at ourselves. To wit, I offer the following anecdote. I lived in the Philippines for 2 years, and during my stay, I was required to take worm pills at regular intervals. I think it was every quarter, but I can't quite recall that detail. Near the end of my stay, the medicine consisted of a single pill that made everything taste terrible for a week or more. But early on, it was a 2-part process. Every so often, we had a large, full-day meeting where we reported on our activities in the mornings and received instruction in the afternoons. When the time came that you needed to take your worm pills, when it was your turn, you would take 1 pill with breakfast and the second with lunch. The medicine worked by attacking the parasite's rudimentary nervous systems and then causing you to, expel them? If you had parasites, that is. While we sat in the afternoon session, every now and then we would witness our compatriots pop up as if they were in a whack-a-mole game, then rush upstairs. The downside was that we all knew what was going on up there. During one of these meetings, to my dismay, my stomach began to rumble. All of the sudden, I became very aware of how many people were sitting around me. But, just like the cat in the hat, as suddenly as the feeling came, it was gone. I was spared, or so I thought. The medicine had caused me to become constipated. This affliction lasted for about a week, until my colleague and I visited a woman who presented us with a large box of mangoes. You see, it was mango season, and mango season in the Philippines is a glorious time. Sweet, delicious mangoes are so abundant that they can be purchased for as little as 17 pesos a kilo, which is basically free. And there I was, staring at a box that contained fruit so good it could have been given as an offering to the gods. My joy was short-lived, however, as there was no way we could fit the box in the jeepney we needed to ride to get home. I am a problem solver, though, so I sat down and got to work. I made short work of the mangoes, peeling and eating them by hand. I didn't even have time to notice how sticky my hands and face had become before I had gone through about half of the box. Just when I was about to clean up and transfer the mangoes to a smaller container, my stomach began to rumble once again. So I grabbed my bag, excused myself, and ran as quickly as I could to the restroom. Now, I need to kind of paint a little bit of a picture here for you and describe Filipino bathrooms. In the Philippines, they call the bathroom or the restroom the CR, which stands for comfort room. There is, however, nothing comfortable about it. They are small, damp, and often very hot, since homes don't normally have air conditioning. There is no toilet seat, that makes it easier to squat, and no toilet paper. Usually there's just a large bucket of water and a smaller bucket with a handle. That's why I grabbed my bag, and luckily I remembered to pack a roll. So I slammed the door, took a squat, and, how do I put this delicately? Every size, every texture, every color, and in large quantities. So there I was, legs beginning to ache from squatting, sweat dripping off my brow, and a great relief washed over me. But then, just as I had begun to relax, there came a knock at the door. Oy! Kamusta na? Okay ka ba? The homeowner had come to check on me. I gathered as much composure as I could muster and responded that I was indeed okay. But whatever relief I had felt was immediately replaced by embarrassment. I hope, telling you this story, you can put yourself in my shoes and empathize with me, and in that way, find the humor of the situation. But, I just thought, I wonder if I made any noise. And here I thought I'd be able to laugh at myself, and I've become embarrassed once again. So, until next time, when we discuss a bit more serious of a topic, thank you for listening. Please pop over to iTunes to rate us and comment. Join the discussion on Reddit, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Be sure to also share us with your friends.